so glad you could join me today. We're not civil lawyers, we're criminal lawyers, but because we do impaired driving law, this very common civil law question comes up for clients. So it's what coverage do I have if I get in a motor vehicle accident and I get convicted of impaired driving? So let's say I've hurt someone and I've totaled my car. Great question. And it's a tricky question. I'll approach it this way. So let's say a client comes to us and their car got totaled and they hurt someone, a person suffered a broken leg and loss of income, and they've come to us. And what I'll say to them is this: look, if you're ultimately convicted of, in other words, plead guilty or found guilty of this, impaired causing bodily harm charge, you're not going to be able to claim collision coverage for your, say, $40,000 or $50,000 new car. There's an exclusion clause for that. Any conviction where you're under the influence of alcohol or a conviction, it's right in your insurance that it's going to be voided. So that's gone, unfortunately, if you're convicted. Now, what about the tort coverage? Tort means a lawsuit where the other side's suing you for negligence for hurting them. And that lawsuit might be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, So let's say you have $2 million or it could be more than hundreds of thousands of dollars. So let's say you have $2 million of insurance coverage. Well, fortunately, if you're convicted of the impaired causing bodily harm, your insurance company is still going to cover you. They're going to provide a lawyer. They're going to pay up to the limits of $2 million, whatever it's worth. If it's worth $2 million, you give $2 million. One problem is if you render someone a quadriplegic who's, say, a 30-year-old doctor, well, you're going to go bankrupt because it's going to be well over $2 million. That's why we should always have I think the best advice is to have up to $6 million in coverage, frankly. No one does. I don't think I do either. I don't follow my own advice. But the bottom line is a conviction for DUI voids collision. Even if they can prove you're under the influence of alcohol at the time of the accident, your insurance company, that voids collision coverage. But fortunately, tort liability for bodily harm, that's covered. And that makes sense. I mean, do we want to, frankly, screw someone out of who's got hundreds of thousands of damages because you don't have insurance? Well, who are they going to sue at that point, right? Your company should cover that, and they do. So what do we tell people in this situation? Well, there's going to be a motor vehicle accident report. Your insurance company's going to find out about it. So you probably should, and it's in your insurance contract, report it and say to them, look, I'm going to be applying for collision coverage. This person was hurt, blah, blah, blah. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to fill out a form called a proof of loss fairly reasonably. It's just a one-page form. It sets out, my car was worth $50,000. It was written off in this accident. And that's a prerequisite to starting a lawsuit, by the way. So what happens then? So the insurance company is going to say to you, look, we want to take a statement from you. I, as a lawyer, say to my clients, you have to provide that statement ultimately, but I do not want you providing that statement until we receive the police reports, all of the extensive disclosure, and we can go through it carefully so your memory is completely refreshed and you can tell a cogent, coherent, chronological version of events, having your memory refreshed from all of the other witnesses, because those things might trigger you. You only get one chance to get your story straight. You don't want to give a statement to your insurance company that's full of holes because things you forgot. So that's very important. So we prepare the client before that. And you ultimately have to provide that. So that might, and insurance companies know that. If you tell them that, they're going to be fine. And then what you have to do is monitor your case. So if your trial is not going to sometimes trials don't take place for over a year and you only have 1 year to sue. So if you want coverage, you're going to have to start a lawsuit because they're not going to give it until the trial's over. And you're going to need to start that lawsuit. You can always give up on it if you lose your trial. If you win, then most insurance companies will give up and pay you. They don't always, unfortunately, but it's a hit and miss. But I tell you, in most situations, they give up if you win your trial because it's going to be hard for them to prove that you're impaired by alcohol or under the influence of alcohol. But not all. I want to caution you on that. So the important things to remember is file the proof of loss, report it to your insurance company because they're going to find out anyway, and it's required. File your proof of loss if you want collision coverage. Make sure you sue in a year. Hopefully your trial takes place before a year so you can find out if you win or lose. And if you lose the trial, you just stop the lawsuit. And thank God you're covered on the tort front for the the lawsuit you're going to be facing from the broken legs from the other driver and loss of income for 500 grand. So there you have it. It's a bit of a short primer, and I'm not an insurance specialist. I'm a criminal lawyer, but because our impaired driving intersects this area, I talk to specialists in this area, friends of mine who specialize in insurance all the time, and that's a basic primer. What I do with my clients, if it gets, if they want to sue, I refer them to a colleague of mine who does this type of work, or for further detailed advice than that. But that's just the kind of basics I wanted to give you, because our firm has to, give some basic legal advice to people on this, all the time, because we represent a lot of people in impaired driving motor vehicle accidents. Thank you for watching our video. We are absolutely committed to bringing you the best possible criminal and DUI educational videos. If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you've been charged with a criminal offense in Ontario and require our services, please click on the link in the description below.